This is what I call God's country. Well, we made it to the top, and holy cow, this is the top of the world, man. Probably 3/4 of the way up now. Well, it's a good thing I didn't turn the camera on about 3 minutes earlier, because you guys would have laughed your asses off at me as I tripped and fell. I kind of had to laugh. I kind of had to laugh at myself because it was like I'd never walked before. Man, oh man. You ever have times like that where your feet just don't work? No matter what you do? How's everyone doing? I hope you all are doing fine. I hope everyone had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. I hope old Santa Claus brought you everything you wanted. Listen to me out of breath. Turkey guts here, full of turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes. My favorite. We had a good Christmas. Fairly quiet, just our family, and it was awesome. And I've been doing a bit more hiking lately. Maybe a little bit more than I normally do. As I said to you all before, my hiking, getting out for a hike really helps clear my head. Oh, this is a beautiful spot up here. Sorry, I like to be quiet when I get to the tops of these mountains, because you never know what could be standing up here. Anyways, I've been doing a little bit more hiking than normal, just because I got some shit going on. Got some shit going on in my life right now that very unexpected stuff, and I'm not the best at dealing with shit. I either clam right up, or which I pretty much, that's what I do. I just clam right up and take off and blow off steam like this. Anyways, I'm sure everything's gonna work out for me, because I do believe in fate. So I guess what's happening is happening for a reason. I just wish it didn't have to happen. Anyway, what better place is there for one to go and unwind and clear your mind and reflect and think? What better place than this? Not much, I don't think. There's not much better places. Oh, look at these trees here. That tree broke down. There's a few strange looking trees there. Anyways, I don't want anybody to think that I'm not complaining. I'm not a complainer. I take things as they come. I take punches on the chin and then I just carry on. And yeah, I've been punched in the guts here a few times lately and taking my breath away. But whatever, I'll get through it. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. So, you guys, outlaw country people, look at that tree. And that one. And that one. Must just be the wind, right? Can't be a Sasquatch, because it can't be a Sasquatch because everybody knows they don't exist. They don't exist because if they existed, the government would tell us all about them. So there's no way that any of those trees are from Sasquatch. Nope. Anyhow, where was I? One track mind. Yeah, things are gonna be okay, but yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for now. I want to get up to the top of that ridge if I possibly can. But it's a steep bugger. Anyways, sorry. I'm sidetracked so badly right now, it's not even funny. You guys are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? So, outlaw country family. I spoke to Joe. I spoke to our friend Joe that sent in that last email to me. That's where I want to get to. And hang on, let me. So I spoke to Joe. For any of you that may have missed that video, Joe was the gentleman that sent the last email to me. I believe it's the last one that I read and put on for you guys. And Joe had a pretty traumatic, I consider it pretty traumatic experience with these people. And he was pretty shook up. At some point, he was pretty shook up. I assured Joe that he thought his email was horrible, but he just sent it anyways because he's like, I don't want to retype the whole damn thing, so I sent it anyways. And I assured him that it was not garbage. I assured him that it was a phenomenal email. And anyways, I wanted to have a good chat with him, and so anyways, I gave Joe a shout, and what a guy. What a phenomenal human being. You know, I meet people like that. I didn't meet him. We just met over the phone. We met through an email, and then met over the phone. And what a phenomenal human being. And I think it's really cool how you can just meet somebody like that and have an instant bond, which I did. And it's funny because Joe said the same thing. He said he contemplated for a long time about sending me that email. And I said, well, I'm sure glad you did, bud. I said, I'm sure glad you did send it. Really appreciate it. And I asked him why. I gotta sit down. I gotta sit down here for a minute. Oh, shit. Geez, Darren, do you think the ground might be wet? Oh, man. Well, the weather's a little bit better today than the other day when I was hiking, but it's still not great, that's for sure. Oh well, is what it is. Is what it is. Anyways, you guys, so as I was saying, I got a hold of Joe, and what a great guy. Had a pretty good chat with him, and we talked for probably, I don't know, an hour or more, and I said I'd reach back out to him again here real soon. But I asked him because he seemed so like hesitant about sending his email or whatever, and I assured him, I said, man, you did the right thing. You know, he's still, after all this time, he's actually doing pretty good. I think he still suffers from doubt, doubt about what happened, what he did. We talked about, his gun, him shooting his gun, and he still to this day does not remember shooting that gun. Doesn't remember pulling the trigger. And I talked to him about my experience with my grizzlies. I've had it twice in my life. I've been charged several times, right? But I've had twice in my life that it was me or the bear. And you got to protect yourself. And the one time in particular, I don't remember pulling the trigger either. I know I did, but it was, like I said to you guys, it was almost like I was out of my body, and I kind of knew what was happening, but I don't remember doing it. It's strange how your instinct takes over. and I said that to him. I'm like, dude, your instinct took over, and you were in a life or death situation, and your actions, you're almost not completely in control of your actions. It's like you hear stories about people having superhuman strength and stuff, and lifting cars off of people and all that kind of shit, right? It's all the same or whatever. But that's really bothered him all these years, is the fact that he doesn't really remember shooting his gun. He knows he fired, and he feared for a long, long time that whatever he shot at, that he killed it, or fatally wounded it. But he doesn't know that for a fact. And as he said in his email, he met the medium, and the medium seemed quite adamant that whatever he shot at, and apparently she knew. That's another whole thing, but she knew that it was one of these or two of these beings, and she said she could see them clearly. He went into a little bit more detail about his time with the medium, and that was something else. But anyways, Joe's doing pretty good. Hell of a nice guy, a really nice guy. And I said to him, I said, man, you did a good thing by sharing, because people need to hear, people need to know. And more and more people are coming forward. I did ask him though, I said, why did you not share with Steve on how to hunt? And I said, I know Steve quite well, and he said that the biggest reason he didn't share with Steve on Steve's channel was because he was embarrassed. And he said, and I said, embarrassed? And he goes, yeah. He said, I consider myself a pretty good hunter and a pretty good outdoorsman, and Steve being a retired guide of all those years, I thought that he would judge me and ridicule me for shooting my gun at something that I didn't see clearly or whatever. And I said, I can tell you right now, man, Steve would not do that. I just don't think Steve would. Steve's seen these beings and had run-ins with them as well, and I don't think he'd do that. But anyways, I said, you know what? And Joe just said, he goes, it doesn't really matter where I shared it. He said it took a long time for him to have the nerve to actually write in about it. But he said he's listened to story after story after story after story, and he figured if other people have the strength to do it, then what the hell, he would have the strength to do it as well. So great man. And yeah, like some of the stuff he told me, because he did go to the medium several times, and the medium, she hit the nail right on the head. She knew exactly what had happened and what transpired, and Joe said that she really helped a lot. So, and he said that sharing here helped a lot. So, man, I'm glad. I'm just glad that he's in a good frame of mind. And he said it took years for him to actually come to terms with what took place and accept it and feel okay. He said I still don't feel good about what I did, but I'm okay with what I've done now, or with what I did. So anyways, Joe, you're an awesome dude, and we're going to talk again for sure. I got a lot of people I'm going to reach out to, I swear. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that I've said it before, in the past. I'm going to get a hold of you, and I haven't yet, but bear with me. I promise I will. It just takes a bit of time. I don't have a whole ton of time right now, but I'm sure over the winter I will, and I'll get a hold of a bunch more people. So hang in there and bear with me. Great. I sit down and there's a pile of bear shit right there. And it's not that old. The bears, for the most part, are gone now, but there's the odd one. There's the odd one that's still roaming around. These black bears here, where I live, they hibernate, but they don't hibernate for the entire time. They don't go down and stay down for 4 months or whatever. They'll hibernate, but they'll wake up here. They get up and they'll wander a little bit. Sometimes they'll eat a little bit, and not all of them, just some of them. So I hope this one's gone back to sleep. Anyways, well, that's about it, you guys. I just wanted to take a quick little break, and I'm gonna get another email read for you guys. And the emails have just been rolling in hard. How about we made 10,000 subscribers? Wow. I remember when I had 100 subscribers, and I'm like, wow, there's 100 people out there that think going hiking in the mountains and whatnot is cool. And now we got 10,000. Unbelievable. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty great. You know what? It just goes to show that there's a lot of good people out there, and there's a lot of people that, especially when it comes to Bigfoot and Sasquatch, there's a lot of people that want the answers and want the truth, and they're just going wherever they can go to find that. Anyways, I appreciate every single one of you. That's awesome. And I'm heading away for a few days tomorrow. I'm heading away tomorrow for a few days, and probably get out and maybe do a little bit of river fishing. Take you guys along for sure. And I just told Mrs. Outlaw, I need a little bit of time just to gather my thoughts and figure my life out. Okay? Mid-50s having to figure your life out, but I guess it never stops. I guess it never ends. Okay, enough blabbering like an idiot. Let's get an email read and get hiking before the rains hammer on me. How about that last video I did? Do you think it rained hard and it was windy enough there? Holy. That was insane. Yeah, I got like 50 emails now unread that I haven't read. That's nothing in the Steve Isdall world, but in Outlaw Country world, that's crazy. I'm one of those people I need to deal with shit the minute it comes up. I can't procrastinate at all, so it drives me nuts that I can't get all of these emails read all at once, but I'm working at it. All right. Next email. Hey Darren, I do hope you get my email, as this is the third time I've sent it to you. I found your channel last spring, and I've been following your journey ever since. I first started watching you because I'm also a huge fan of the Alone TV show, and I have to say they screwed up big time not taking you on that show. You would have kicked ass. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I love how you go off on your own into the wilds and take us along as if we're right there beside you. Somehow, I knew deep down inside that you must have had some type of experience with these Sasquatch people over your years, given all the time you spend in the remote wilderness. I also follow Steve at How to Hunt, and when I saw you talking with Steve about all the strange things that you've encountered and the experiences you've had, it made me want to finally open up about my past. Steve does great work by sharing the truth, but I didn't feel that I was going to get much closure by sharing my story with him. After listening to a few emails that you shared, I decided it was time for me to face my demons and tell my story. I've worked in the woods all my life, and I've seen a lot of strange things over the years, from flashing lights to orbs and animal sounds that I can't explain. I've only ever seen one of these Sasquatch people in my 45 years, but it was an experience that I'll never forget. I love to spend time alone in the wilderness, much the way that you and Steve do, but maybe a little less remote and not for quite as long a period of time as you guys do. I was on a black bear hunt 2 years ago, And I was on my own, as most of my buddies don't like bear meat. It was the third day of my hunt, and I finally found a good bear that I wanted to harvest. And I spent a few hours getting in position to take the shot. I shot this bear at 150 yards, and it took off into the thick trees, but I knew it was definitely hit hard. I did as I should and waited for an hour before going in to find the bear. As I got into the thick bush, there was no sign of the bear. I spent an hour or so looking for blood and tracks, but came up empty-handed. I knew that I hit the bear good, so I went back to where I shot from and got some landmarks to go off of. I went back into the thick shit and once again started looking for sign. I finally found some blood and started to follow it. As I was following the blood trail in the thick bush, I had my head down looking at the ground so that I didn't lose sight of the blood drops. When all of a sudden I hear a roar in front of me. I looked up and there's the bear about 70 yards in front of me on the charge right at me. I raised my rifle, and just as I went to squeeze the trigger, something black came in and filled my entire scope. I lowered the rifle quickly, and that's when I saw this massive creature with its foot on the head of my bear. The bear was lying on the ground, still kicking and moaning, but this fucking thing stepped on its head like it was a grouse, and the kicking and moaning finally stopped. I stood there in absolute shock. I could not comprehend what I was seeing. As I backed up as quietly as I could, keeping my eye on this creature, I thought to myself, I'm a dead man. This thing reached down and picked up this mature black bear and threw it over its shoulder like a kid would a backpack. It was effortless. As this monster walked away from me with my bear slung over its shoulder, I turned to run, and I tripped over the roots of a tree and fell onto the ground. I was in immediate pain, but I rolled over onto my back so I could see if the Sasquatch and if it had heard me. As I rolled onto my back, all I could see was dark hair, and this thing was literally on top of me, staring at me. He was standing right at my feet, looking over me and grunting. It was a male, and I'm guessing it was 8 to 9 feet tall. It was covered in dark black hair, but its face didn't have much hair and resembled that of a man's face. This thing was looking right into my eyes, and I wasn't able to move or speak. I just looked back at the creature as it stared at me. I closed my eyes and I prayed to God that this creature would spare me and allow me to live. That was the last thing I remember until I came to. And I was laying at the driver's door of my truck. My small day pack was under my head and my rifle was leaning against my driver's tire. As I came to, I looked around, but there was nobody or nothing around my truck. Now you have to remember, my truck was well over an hour's hike from where I had shot the bear. My left leg was in serious pain just below the knee, and as I tried to stand, the pain got so bad that I literally fell back to the ground. There was a terrible smell around me, but I didn't know what it was. It smelled like garbage, rotten garbage. I tried to stand up again, and this time I fought through the pain to get to my feet and open the truck door. I threw my pack in and then hobbled to the front of the truck to grab my rifle. I got my gun into my truck and was able to climb into the seat. I sat there for a while to try and catch my breath. There was a burning feeling in my left leg. It felt like somebody had a torch held to it. I started the truck and used my right leg for the gas and brake, so I didn't have to move my left leg at all. All I could think about was this monster that I saw, and why hadn't it killed me? I was confused about everything that happened. Sorry guys, the rain is wrecking my phone here again. I was confused about everything that happened. How did I get to my truck? What was wrong with my leg? What was the horrible smell I was smelling? I was also worried at this point that this thing was going to follow me. I drove over an hour to get to town and decided to go straight to the hospital to have my leg looked at. When I got to emergency, I stepped out of the truck and I fell to the ground again. A couple nurses came out, and then another nurse came out with a stretcher. They loaded me onto the stretcher and took me inside. As they took me in, they were asking me what happened. I said, I think I broke my leg. They took me into a room and hooked me up to some machines and took my blood pressure. One nurse stayed with me and was asking me repeatedly what happened. How had I fallen? Obviously, I couldn't tell her everything, but I told her I tripped over a log while I was hunting. The doctor finally came in and looked at my leg. He said it looks pretty banged up and that I would need an x-ray. I finally went in for an x-ray, and then they took me back to my little room. I could still smell this horrible smell, and I asked the nurse if she smelled it as well. She said she did, but it's okay and not to worry about it. A while later, the doctor came back to my room and said that I had a spiral fracture of my leg just below the knee. But it's a very strange break. He asked me if I had broken my leg in the very recent past, and I said no. Why? He said that the spiral fracture is very visible, but it's partially healed and looks to be possibly a few weeks old. He said it's healing nicely, but my fall probably aggravated it. That's why I'm in so much pain. I assured him that I hadn't previously hurt my leg and that I was out on a serious hunt and was hiking when I tripped and fell, and that's when I hurt my leg. He said that seems very odd. He showed me the x-rays and it clearly showed my break, but it also showed where the bone was healing. My leg was bruised very badly and it still hurt, but the painkiller was starting to work. The nurse came back into my room and asked if there was someone she could call to come and get my truck. I gave her my brother's number, so she called him. When Jeff got to the hospital, he came in to see me and asked how I was doing and what had happened. This is when things got crazy. Jeff said, "What do you want me to do with that half of the bear that's in the bed of your truck?" I stared at him for a minute and said, "What?" He said it again. "What do you want me to do with the half of the bear in the box of your truck?" I couldn't even answer him. I couldn't understand what he was talking about. Jeff eventually left and returned a few hours later to pick me up from the hospital. The doctors had put a cast on my leg and said I should come back in a few weeks to have my leg checked and possibly have the cast removed. Jeff picked me up in his truck, and once he got me in the truck, I asked him if he said to me earlier that there was a bear in the back of my truck. And he said, yeah, the rear half of the bear. He then told me he took it to our butcher that we used to cut our deer. I started to tell Jeff exactly what happened to me. He had to pull the truck over and stop so he could look at me and listen to my story. He asked me how I got back to my truck. I said, I don't know, Jeff. He asked how the half of a bear got back to my truck. I said, I don't know, man. I passed out and I woke up at the door of my truck. I don't remember anything other than this creature standing at my feet. I was very confused, concerned, and in shock. And now Jeff was concerned for me as well. I was trying to make sense of what happened. Jeff asked, do you really think this creature carried you all the way to your truck and then went back and brought half the bear to you? I said, I can't even begin to believe that's what took place. I can't believe any of this, Jeff. When we got home, Jeff called our butcher and asked if the bear meat was still okay. And he said it was fine, but it was a hell of a mess. He asked if I tore it in half with my truck, trying to drag it out of the bush, because the flesh was torn and the bones broken, not cut. He said it's a mess, but I will get some meat out of it. Now I know it sounds as crazy as the day is long, but I know for a fact that this Sasquatch carried me to my truck, and it also brought half a bear back to my truck and put it in the bed. There is no way on God's green earth that I could have done this myself. It took me 2 days to get the smell off me. I smelled terrible, like rotten garbage and wet dog. I had to wash my hunting clothes 4 or 5 times before the horrible smell was finally gone. I wasn't conscious after I stared this creature in the eyes at 6 feet, but I do know what I saw was real, not a dream. I also know that I didn't have the ability to get to my truck on my own, let alone carry half of a black bear and get it in the bed of my truck. I also know that I didn't break my leg weeks prior to this. When I went to the clinic 10 days later, the doctor said my leg looked great and he removed the cast after 10 days. I asked him if that's a normal time for a leg to heal, and he said no, it's healed extremely fast, faster than normal, and he didn't have an explanation as to why. He told me to take it easy and refrain from hiking for a while and come back in 2 weeks for one final x-ray. This whole experience has messed with my mind, and I still struggle to make sense of it all. I never hunted the next fall because I was scared to go into the woods. Scared to run into this being again. It was the following spring, a year later, that I decided to venture back out for another bear hunt. I'm still to this day very nervous when I'm in the woods, but I go. I try to enjoy my time. It's something I can't let be taken from me. I know Sasquatch exist. I wasn't dreaming. But there are times still to this day that I question myself. Was what I saw real? Was what happened real? For me, there is no other explanation. Thank you for your time, Darren. I appreciate all you do. Keep up the fight and keep enjoying the woods the way you do. That email is from Robert Emery. I'm going to mark that one as read. Read. Holy shit. Wow. Robert. Man, oh man. Once again, hair in the back of my neck standing on end. That seems to happen a lot lately. Where do I start? I don't know. I honestly don't know where to start with that. I mean, you know what you saw, man. You know what you saw. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have run into these people and these beings and questioned themselves and doubted themselves. You know what you saw. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Of course, you're going to second guess yourself. That is like a hell of an encounter. I've heard people say that you know, these forest people have protected them and you know, looked out for them and all sorts of stuff. And I've heard other things too, where they're horrible, terrible creatures and beings. I don't know what to make of it, man. I'm like you with a broken leg. You said the first time you tried to stand up, you fell over. And then you got to the hospital, fell over again. So I'm kind of leaning towards you didn't hike an hour out of the bush. And I'm really leaning towards the fact that there's not a chance in hell that you carried a 250 pounds of bear or 200 pounds of bear back to your truck and threw it in the box of your truck. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. So, I don't know, man. Like, yeah. I wasn't there, but you were. And do I believe you? 110% I believe you. No doubt about it. You know, you're a little unclear because you weren't conscious as this thing was carrying you back to the truck, but maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. Wow. Unreal. Unreal. Wouldn't it be nice if all of these beings were good to good people? I personally don't think that's the case. That's just me. I think there's good ones. I think there's bad ones. I've said that before. I think they're just a lot like people. There's phenomenal people out there and there's some not phenomenal people out there. And I think these beings are a lot like that. But Robert, man, I'm glad you're good, and I'm glad of the outcome. And you know what? All I can say is I'm happy that you got back out for another bear hunt and didn't let that ruin it for you, because I wouldn't let it ruin it for me. Nope. Nope, I wouldn't let it ruin it for me. If one of those buggers came out right behind me and kicked me in the back of the head, as long as you didn't kill me, I'd be back out in the forest. It's not going to change. It's not going to change what I do. I know they're here, and you do too. So thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Going to get back to you. I promise you, Robert. I will get back to you. Might take me a little bit of time, but I will. What else? Real quick before I get going. We have a subscriber here. That's we have a lot of, as I've said, we have a lot of freaking amazing, awesome people here. But we have one subscriber that's reached out to me in an email, and she knows who she is, and she's filled me in on her life and what she's gone through in her life. And it involves these people, these beings, and but she's asked me not to share it, and I totally respect that. I'm not going to say anything more other than this sweet person. She has gone through more shit in her life than any of us could probably even imagine. I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but like, it's more than I could ever imagine that she's had to endure and go through and deal with. And her comments on my channel are always heartfelt and sincere, and she's just a beautiful person. And then she sends me this email and tells me the shit show that she's gone through in her life, and not asking for any. She's not asking for anything. She just wants, at this point, she just wants somebody to know her story, and then she's maybe one day she'll want me to share with you what she has shared with me. It's a lot of it is about her life, but it's very directly related to these people, to the Bigfoot people, to the Sasquatch people, to the forest people. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now, but bless you. my heart is with you, and my thoughts are with you, and I hope that you continue to be strong, and I don't want to say too much, but my thoughts are with you. You know who you are. All right. Anyways, I gotta roll. I gotta get going here. And hope you guys all had a good New Year's, good Christmas, great holiday season. I hope everybody's healthy, happy. Because if you don't have your health, you're pretty hard to be happy. So I hope you're healthy and happy. And you know what? No matter what, be a good person. Just be a good person. Here's a bit of a game trail. Not a very good one, but I'm going to follow it. Yeah, quite the ordeal, Robert. Like, I don't care who you are. That would scare the shit out of you. That would scare the shit out of you if you knew that you had passed out, and then all of a sudden you wake up conscious back at your vehicle. Yeah. If you say that wouldn't startle you, you're lying. That wouldn't scare you, you're a liar. Oh man, this is not the best. I don't think I picked the best route here. Well, Robert, that was a hell of an encounter that you had with these damn things. I guess we shouldn't say these damn things. I mean, in your case, they could have saved your life. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.